Hello and welcome back. This is week 3 of the Live Responsibly, Die Thoughtfully read along. And this week we're venturing into step 1, conquering avoidance. And this starts with a kind of a weird question. Would you like to talk about death and dying today? Well, not many of us would say yes. Those of us in the field would say, of course. But for my family, maybe for your family, this was not a common topic of conversation growing up. And yeah, we have to change our thinking on this. So that's what this chapter is really about. How can we change our thinking? Uh, just our reaction to that thought of talking about death and dying. Um, so I'm inviting you here to venture out onto the path of clarity. Believe it or not, death can seem kind of a yeah, weird, mystical, mysterious event, and yeah, none of us really know what happens when we die. And I'm smiling because recently I've been accused of being a bit woo-woo, and so I just want to address that. I do hear from spirits when I work with clients. Your father, your dog, your grandmother might have something to say to you, and it's actually really interesting to to open up to that kind of conversation. It's not for everybody, and if that's not for you, we don't have to go there if we work together. But it can be very interesting and educational, and actually very healing. Um, Maybe it was a traumatic death, or your relationship was not great while they were alive, and working with me as a medium might be a way to heal some of that. But we're straying off the path of this week's chapter, which is step 1, conquering avoidance. So it took, on page 31, I talk about how it took the loss of both my parents to be able to, for me to be able to talk about death and dying. I I worked with my father for probably 4 or 5 years before he died, but he had to get me to do that work with him. He was willing to go there. I think because of how it went with my mom, he realized that he could have a better end of life if he talked about it. And being his power of attorney, it was critical that I be able to talk with him about that. Uh, my mom, on the other hand, yeah, she didn't want to talk about it, or I don't know that that's actually the case, but she was very focused on getting better, going through the treatment for leukemia, and so she just didn't want to talk about it. Um, and there are many ways that society encourages us to not talk about it. It's really not done in polite society. Death and taxes and personal things like that, talking about money. So you're going against the norms of our society. My society is Western white culture. And you might be worried that you'll turn people off. And those of us in the death worker field joke that we don't get invited to many dinner parties because we want to talk about these things, and it can make people uncomfortable. But probably you don't have to always talk about it. It could be painful, and I recognize that losing a loved one is really challenging. I miss both my parents so much, and really wish I'm 61. I wish they were still around to see what I'm doing now. Uh, so yeah, I honor your loss, and I'm very sorry for the pain that brings up. You might think that others can do it, but it's not for me. So we have to change our thoughts, have to think about what does it mean to think responsibly. And I shared the story of my friend Alan with his brothers and his father. He just wasn't willing to go there. And I just heard another horror story of this client's stepdaughter, and her mother died, and um, they're just having a horrible time settling the estate because there was nothing put in place, and obviously no conversations about it. Um, so it can cause really deep pain, and that can go on for a long time and wreck relationships. So definitely don't want to have that happen. So why is it so hard to think about this if it's hard for you? Well, it's because our brains are primed for survival. They don't want you to think about it because they want you to focus on finding pleasure, and they want you to be present, not worry about things that feel out of control. But this is a big deal to get over this over the wanting to avoid it. So let's do that inner work. Shift ourselves, shift these long held patterns. I know you can do it. I'm here to help you with it, and we're going to do it together. So next week we'll be talking about step 2, overcoming resistance to our mortality. I should have said my mortality, because we're getting personal in this next chapter. So I hope you'll join me for that. Put any comments, any questions. For those who are thinking maybe this is okay to talk about, I'm so thrilled to announce that the Edgewalking Collective that I'm a part of is launching a new subscription community called Eternally Curious. And that's available on the Edgewalking website, edge-walking.com. And you can join the community. It's a monthly 3 months or 6 months subscription. And there's going to be a monthly theme with workshops, meditations available. You'll get to talk to one of the members of the team and ask any questions that you have. There'll be field trips. A lot of it's going to be on Zoom. So if you're not local to Bainbridge Island and North Kitsap, feel free to join in. We're going to do virtual field trips. Yeah, it's just going to be really fascinating to dive into it together. So I'll put the link to that website in the comments. And again, thank you so much for being here. If you want to join one of the book parties, Saturday, October 19th, Sunday, October 20th, 19th will be here on Bainbridge Island, 20th will be on Zoom. Look for the link in your email to join us for those parties. And it's just a celebration. I so appreciate all the support that I have received, and really want to just be with you and yeah, have a great party, have a great time. All right, we'll see you next week. Thanks.